All right, Jim. Thanks for queuing it up. PBD Nation, welcome to the first webinar of 2021. I want to officially welcome our two titans, Anna DiMarco and Jim Millard, who are going to take us through a journey. I know everyone is super fatigued with everything that's going on right now, but in the chat, guys, we want to know, I know Jim and Anna want to know right now, where are you guys all coming from right now? So in the chat, if you guys can put down where are you guys all coming from right now so we can get a gauge. We got Tanya Yardley. Oh man, TY's in the house. She is definitely one of the key figures in physiotherapy. Tanya, welcome. Caitlin from Toronto, welcome. Come on, there's got to be Sarah, Simon from rural Manitoba, Melanie. What's up, Donna, Nick, Hannah? Whoa, is this the Hannah Moves, guys?
Yeah.
This is the Hannah Moves guy. I love it. I love it. All right, if with one word, guys, in this, are you guys fatigued from webinars, or do you guys want to see one more of these guys? What do you think, guys? In the chat right now, tell us, are you guys wanting more webinars, or are you guys just fatigued from it? Say more for more or fatigue. Come on, give us. Tanya's more. All right, guys, in the chat right now, I know Anna and Jim want to know, what is the one word that describes 2020 to you guys right now? What's the one word that describes 2020? What do you think, Jim? What do you think, Anna? What do you think is going to come out?
You don't want to hear my word.
So far, we've got crazy, fatigue, challenging, Darlene, Caitlin, insightful, Heather, motivating, Katrina, too much, Melanie, educational. Hopefully that's because you've been watching our webinars and just inspired by our titans coming out here. All right, now, guys, in the chat right now, we want to know, how many years have you guys been practicing in here? So in the chat, we got new grads, we got seasoned veterans, we got Jim Millard, 32. Who can beat Jim Millard on that schedule?
Anna can.
8. Nick Hanna, 5. Tanya Yardley, 28. She's only 29, Tanya Yardley. We got 35 from Darlene. Woo. We got some pretty seasoned veterans out there. Tanya Sharma, welcome. All right, and then Sandra. Wow, we got some seasoned veterans out here. Double digits. Oh, wait.
Wisdom speaks. 336 from Glenda.
Glenda is actually our official PT vampire. So Glenda, welcome from the Twilight series. So, all right, guys, what is the one word that you just joined? 25. I love
Scotty.
Scotty. All right, guys, what's the one word that describes 2021 to you guys right now in the chat? Tell us, what's the one word that describes 2021? Satish, 44. That's good. Oh, yeah, Scotty, I'm not sure we could say that one. 2 words. Give us 2 words, Nick. Retirement, Linda. All right. All right, guys. So it looks like growth. Erdem, welcome. This guy's the professor. I love this guy, Erdem. All right, Darlene, great comments. All right, guys, I want to get right to this. We got 2 incredible titans with us. I'm going to step it up to Anna. Anna, for those, there seems to be a huge mix of people on our community right now. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know tons about you, but in a nutshell, tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're coming from, what motivated you to step up to this series.
Sure. So hello, I'm Anna DiMarco, for those of you who don't know me. I have been a physio for, I didn't even do the math, but I graduated maybe 34 years, 33 or 34. I've got to do the math on that, a long time. I have been in private practice for most of that time frame. I sold my practice in November of 2019, so just before the poop hit the fan, so to speak. And I met Jim through, actually, I met Jim kind of last year, before, in 2019, before the pandemic hit, because we had a shared interest in communication. And then when the pandemic hit, we sort of formed a nice little connection over some similar situations. And so I'm here tonight because basically in conversation with Jim and Donna Hutchings, who's out there tonight, who is a good friend physio here, who I had kind of lost touch with. We really connected during the pandemic, and these connections that I've had with physios have been amazing for me in terms of really helping me to get through the pandemic with people that I thought were very like-minded. You know, obviously we're in tough times and everybody deals with tough times differently. And so when people have similarities, it's kind of nice. So I'll let you know a little bit more about that later on.
That's amazing, Anna. Thank you. Welcome to the mic and to the OG of PT, right? The Mulligan Master, right? And the mind mentor himself, Jim Millard. Welcome to the mic. I know you well. Obviously, the chat knows you well. There's all these like purple hearts coming your way. Mr. Millard, give us a little summary. I know your bio is huge. Give us a little summary, a nutshell of the mind mentor himself, Jim Millard.
Well, thanks, Kareem. It's hard to even live up to that, and not much to say, really. It's a journey, and loving the journey. And it's funny, I look at the the panelists, and half the people on there are my friggin' heroes. So it's hard to kind of have a conversation around this. Just this crazy time, but I've been out 32 years basically, and yeah, I mean, I get to go to work tomorrow at 7 a.m. Like, I'm pumped, and we'll talk a little bit about how much community meant to me last year, and how much it's a privilege just to be on here and to be part of this whole physiotherapy community, especially in a tough time. So I'm living the dream, and just happy to share with all of you guys tonight. So thanks for coming out on a Sunday night at after 8 out here in the East.
You know what, man? From the people in the attendees today don't realize that we actually had this chat. We did a little quick catch up 12 hours ago. So for everyone that's on this call right now, these two people are so dedicated. They've met with me a few times at like 8 a.m. For Anna was 7 a.m. For me it was 6 a.m. just to go over this passion, this purpose of what they want to devote to the community. You know, Jim and I were on these crisis seminars last year literally at this time, you know, brainstorming through this, how to get like clinicians through this. Anna and Jim, you know, molded together at that time. And I'm really interested, Jim, question for you is, you know, tell us, like, why are we here? Like, what, you know, it was this like something that came out of this whole, you know, when we were on Daryl's series, like tell me more a little bit about what inspired you and Anna. Because remember, this is like 6-week boot camp, right? I want to call it a boot camp. These guys are more energy, you know, they got more energy out there, but I'm going to call it a 6-week series. 3 of them are going to be live, but tell us, like, you know, what is the why of this, and how everyone can gain from the two masters that are on this panel.
Well, I won't take Anna's lines because we're throwing our agenda off here, but basically I want to invite all you guys into here, first of all, and Kareem, shout out to Kareem, because, you know, PPDs played a huge role last year, and they're going to play a huge role this year. So, I mean, Christ, I mean, close your eyes, open your eyes, look, hindsight 2020, Illumination 2021, we've called it. And we've never been in this before, where everyone has a shared experience. And, you know, pandemic, all of us back in the middle of March last year, we were out of work for the better part of 2 months. And it was pretty scary. And we're still in this friggin' space of, I don't know, like, we know where we've come from. We know where we are right now. I don't know. And where are we going? And Anna's going to speak to that too, because it's a new word for me, this liminality, this liminal space. And we're just stuck here in the middle, but it doesn't have to be passive. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're leaning on some of the stuff that you're going to hear, maybe a little bit about my story and Anna's wonderful story about, you know, how even in tough times we can continue to grow. And I saw in the chat resilience, holy crap. And it was Tanya, I think, for sure, because she is resilience. And that's what this is all about. What we want to share with you guys, our big why at the end of this 6 weeks, when you leave these exercises, if you do the work, it's just become resilient. You earn resilience, right? You just step step out of yourself, but into yourself all at the same time. And it's just a process. And you know, it's interesting that we all come to it. When I look at the list here, I don't see many people out 1 and 2 years. They can't see it. I mean, we've lived it. We've fallen down. We've bled. We've cried. We've shit the bed. Like we've had tough times. So that's how we get resilient. But we want to share a lot of that with our colleagues and just some of the steps that have allowed us to kind of, you know, continue to infinitely grow through these tough times.
Love it, Jim. You know, truly speaking, I think you're putting down that the people that are on this call, I recognize a lot of them, they're true leaders in the profession. And truly, this is a community chat about laying some seeds and seeing the flowers bloom in a few months from now, right? And these seeds can be spread out across the profession. We've got several huge leaders on this call. You know, and you know, I'm really excited to see how this transforms. And, you know, one of the things that people always comment about myself about high energy, and we're going to do something dramatic, or Anna's promised to do something truly dramatic, and that is to enter a period of silence. So Anna, tell us where we're going to go with this.
Well, we're not exactly going to do silence because you're going to listen to me, but we're gonna take it down. Energy is wonderful. Energy is a beautiful thing, and I'm also a very high energy person. But we're going to take it down to just ground ourselves a little bit. We're going to be talking about some stuff that, you know, might make us all feel a little bit vulnerable. I'm going to give you a warning. I'm Italian. I cry really easily and I swear a lot. So Jim is really used to all of it. He has seen it all. But I also like to think of myself as anti-fragile. So despite the fact that you will see these two extremes of emotions come out of me really easily, it's really hard to break me. And I've been kind of fascinated with that all of my life. And so resilience and how to acquire more resilience has been right up there. But a big piece of that for me over the last over 20 years, probably almost 25 years, has been finding silence and finding a way to connect to more stillness as well. And so we're going to do just a quick little 1 or 2 minute meditation, and it's mostly to help connect us as a community. So if you are seated, I would like you to place your feet on the ground. If you're in bare feet, that's great. I'm not, because I'm always frozen at this time of the day, so I've got slippers on. But I've got my feet planted and I've got my ischial tuberosities well connected to my seat. I'm sitting up tall. So we want our chest a little bit open. We want to imagine that we're creating space around our heart center. And maybe we even want to take our right hand and place it over our heart and just feel our own hearts. And maybe we want to close our eyes, but we don't have to. We can just focus our eyes almost closed and just think about taking some gentle inhales, not trying to change what you're doing so much, but just noticing what's happening with your breath. And as you're noticing what's happening with your breath, I'm going to ask you to imagine that from the bottoms of your feet, there are these magnificent roots extending down beneath whatever flooring you're resting on. And these roots are getting down deep into the earth. And imagine that we are not connected via Zoom, but that in fact, we are gathered together somewhere warm, like trees in a forest, perhaps. And imagine that my roots and your roots and Jim's roots and Kareem's roots are all nicely intertwined, just becoming one big messy root. Remembering that this is one of the ways that trees share their nutrition. It's one of the ways that trees share their wisdom. It's one of the ways that trees tend to care for one another and protect one another from illness. And as you're feeling your breath and feeling your heart, take yourself up into your spine and just imagine that you had branches that were reaching up into the light. My branches are reaching for the light. Jim's branches are reaching for the light, and so are Kareem's. And we can all reach for the light together. There is plenty of light for all of us. And we may even choose to let our branches touch at certain spots. We're always rooting deeper down to stay connected and simultaneously reaching upwards towards the light, growing, growing. And then just start to move in however you want to move. But remember that if you ever need a quick little grounding at the clinic, one of my favorites is to just ground my feet, notice my feet, breathe into my heart, lift my heart, and I just start to imagine that my feet through their roots are connected to the client I'm about to see. And it's just a really nice way to ground my energy and leave behind anything else that I might have carried with me to work that day. So for tonight, this was an invitation to leave behind anything you might have carried with you here. And we can be more present that way. So that wasn't so bad, right? Even for us high energy types.
That was awesome. That was, I definitely think meditation or guided, imagery is the pathway to the soul, and definitely putting together. I definitely could feel like those connections when you were talking about the branches. That was super powerful. Jim, thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's connection. And I'll segue from connection and take it over to Anna. But again, we're a community, and PPD last year really stepped up. Big shout out to Daryl. I don't know if he's on here tonight. And it's funny, I mean, the people I work with the most probably right now, creating with Anna and Andrea Kay, who's on here. Shout out to Andrea, because I work with her like 4 days a week, and I would have never met her if it wasn't for these, these webinars last year. So I think connection's huge, and that's what we really want to bring together here. And meditation is a perfect setting for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think what's you talked a lot about connecting, vulnerability. Tell us a little bit more about
Yeah.
Is.
So I think, for a lot of us right now, we're probably not feeling our emotional best. Would just be a guess that maybe we're struggling on some level, and it might be, it could be, financially. Gosh, my income is down to probably less than 25% of what I earned the year before. And I tell you, I sold my clinic, but if you ask my husband, he would say that's a real generous use of the term sold. So, but, thankfully, finances are not an issue. For me, what has been the biggest thing is my identity. I'm working from home because I'm protecting seniors in our lives. My husband and I had 4 parents at the beginning of this. I told you I cried easily, so I did warn you. We lost my father-in-law November 29th to COVID. And thankfully, he was the oldest of the 4. However, having said that, it also means that we were unable to have a funeral, which is terrible. But for me, what's even worse than that is that for the 10 months leading up to his death, he didn't see his grandchildren or his great-grandchildren. My husband and I only visited him 3 times during that time because he and my mother-in-law lived in communal living, and I was protecting my high-risk parents. So our visits were very limited. My point being that we have all suffered some kind of loss, whether it's loss of life, whether it's loss of finances, whether it's loss of identity, whether it's friendships. Gosh, we don't all agree on Black Lives Matter brought out a whole bunch of different issues. The political unrest in the US brought up a whole bunch of different opinions. And maybe some of your friends are no longer your friends, or they're not the same, you're not finding yourself to be at that same level of friendship. So we see these losses. We maybe anticipate future losses. We don't know when we're going to be free to live our lives again. And depending on who you listen to, it could be a decade before we're back to really being rid of COVID. And others will say, well, in 2 years, things will feel pretty normal. We don't know. We don't know, right? So here we are. We're in this liminal space. And we're trying to offer support to patients and to family members. And yet we ourselves might be feeling like we need support. And so we need to recognize that it's okay to not be totally okay right now. And it doesn't mean that you're not a great physio. I can tell you that during a period of time in my life, over 20 years ago, I had just finished treatment for Hodgkin's and a fairly advanced level of Hodgkin's. And I had returned to work, and that's when the post-traumatic stress hit. And sadly, it didn't happen until I returned to work. I was really struggling with I didn't want to be a physio anymore, because in my mind, physicians had missed my Hodgkin's for over 2 years. With symptoms. I had symptoms and still, I was missed. So in my mind, all my patients had cancer and the doctors just couldn't find it. And so I was like, I don't want to be physio anymore because I can't handle this. This is stressing me. Yet somehow I was connecting so profoundly with patients that I developed this caseload in a brand new clinic that 3 other physios before me had been unable to build a clinic. And I'm going, this is a bit weird. I don't even want to be a physio anymore. And I've got this caseload. And that was the real eye opener for me about the level of connection. Clearly, even though I was struggling, I was listening to myself and I was listening to my patients a lot more. So I would like you all tonight to give yourself the freedom to really start to acknowledge your losses. And don't worry, you're not going to end up in a crazy hole that you're not going to be able to dig yourself out of. But if we don't acknowledge them, if we, just try to put them into little boxes on a shelf that we'll deal with later, I promise you they will come back to bite you in the butt. And so if you just take a moment, and you don't have to think about it really hard, but, can you think about what has been the most frustrating over this last 11 to 12 months for you, and give it a name, give that feeling a name. So bad is not a feeling. So, things like, are you frustrated? Are you sad? Are you anxious? Are you ambivalent at this point? Give it a name, but recognize that these feelings are not permanent. But the more that we try to settle them down and not deal with them, I think that the more powerful they become. So the vulnerability lies in actually listening to what you're truly feeling. And we'll talk about tonight, we're going to take you from listening. At the end of the 6 weeks, you're going to be able to listen and be transformed by what you're listening to, as opposed to, people will say, oh, that just makes me depressed. Well, sure, if you just stop there. So that's essentially the beginning of our content to a certain extent.
Ooh, that was deep, and I thought you had me at 1, and then it just got deeper and deeper, and the pain. I just felt the pain get even more grounded. And I love that line that all heroes were once broken, and it sounds like there's been a lot of shattering, and you've come out as a true champion. I'm really excited to learn from some of these losses and how you transform that pain into power. So I really appreciate you sharing that vulnerability, because I can't imagine the losses. And I think all of us as clinicians, face patients who are come in with all these conspiracy theories about how COVID doesn't exist and blah blah blah, and this is all media hype and government regulations and all this stuff and control, and then they forget. And certainly the chief medical officers of each province will often say this is somebody's grandfather, this is somebody's father that's been lost, to something that could have been preventable. And your story of championing lymphoma and all that stuff, and being able to take that and turn around a clinic and champion that place just shows how much of a leader you are. So thank you. And I'm feeling very empowered from just that one one talk. Jim, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you don't even really know the whole story yet, so and that still might come out. But yeah, Anna's been through hell and back, and yeah, talk about loss of identity. Oh my God, like I got to go to work. She didn't get to go to work, and that's friggin' huge. And my story, like I'll just segue back to why we came together on this, just to try to kind of share this stuff with you guys, and it's total vulnerability. My story probably started not about me, but ended up in this same authenticity and presence, this same place that she's speaking about. And Andrea made a good comment in the chat. Well, maybe we connect better when we're a little lost. I think we got to get lost to kind of get to that place. And collectively, COVID is doing that and has done it for us. But mine started out with my wife Kelly's cancer journey, and it always seems to be some type of loss that triggers us. And I think I was an asshole as a physio before that, right? I was telling people what to do, trying to fix people. I mean, Nick Hanna and I have this conversation all the time, but it changed, and it changed me just to be at those appointments with her and just to see how hard it is for healthcare workers, and how hard it was for her workers, how hard it was for her to be a patient. And that changed me. And I realized at that point that here I was, I probably read every friggin' book, Kareem, that ever existed on self-help. And I was trying to give self-help by adding stuff to my life. And I realized at that point, I realized that it's not about adding, it's about letting go. And that I'm going to get off on a tangent here. I've taken a lot of coaching courses lately, and I'm on a bit of a coaching journey. And I actually did some of that with my wife, Kelly, which is huge. And I like to think about it as we're on this ladder of selves. And yes, there's Maslow's hierarchy, which wasn't really a pyramid. And at the top of the pyramid wasn't self-actualization. It was really transcendence, right? And but it's really a ladder, and it's not a friggin' pyramid. It's a ladder we live on, and we go up and down on it all day long, all week long, all life long. And at the top of the ladder is like joy and love, and at the bottom of the ladder is fear, right? And at the top of the ladder we're creating, and at the bottom of the ladder we're reacting. The same friggin' letters, right? It's just a mindset, and we're all gonna go up and down that ladder all day, right? And it's just recognizing it, that our innate qualities are at the top of the ladder, and we let go to climb that ladder. And that's that clarity, right? At the bottom of the ladder, that's when we're adding all the expectations and the pressure and the judgment. And it's just trying to really see where you are and just to be aware of that. And it sounds almost a little bit, Buddhist, but it's just being able to kind of set back and watch and observe, and just be able to know that parasympathetic is climbing the ladder, sympathetic is going down the ladder. And why I'm bringing this up is over the course of the next 6 weeks, we're going to share a lot of rituals that allow us to take us up that ladder. I've got mine. Anna's the master. She's a soul doula. If you don't know what that means, you can kind of look it up. But we're going to try to share a lot what we've been through, our losses, just to kind of help you guys find a different way. There's no recipe, there's no map. It's just a different narrative and a different mindset. So that's where I come to this from, and that's my story. Is just try to leave it better than I found it, and just try to share with everybody.
Jim, that was super deep. Jim, what was that thing for Anna? What was
Soul doula?
Soul doula.
She's a doula. D-O-U-L-A.
Before Anna talks about that, in the chat, guys, right now, right. Panelists and attendees, how many of you guys know about what the soul doula is? Because I gotta Wikipedia this one up. But
how about just a regular doula? Do you know what a regular doula is?
Isn't that a birth thing? A doula?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'll help you birth your soul.
All right. I know what midwives. I know what doula was. That was awesome. I love the ladder. Definitely. I mean, we all want to be at the top of that ladder, as Nick said, and that's fantastic. Anna, great segue to you, the soul doula. Tell us, what can we expect? I know everyone's probably wondering, like right now on this call, there's like, it's like the attendees are amping up they must be calling people because our participants keep going up the more you guys talk. So tell us, what can we expect in the next over the 6 weeks? You know, is this just watching? Is this Netflix and chill?
Yeah.
Is this like,
oh no, that would be lovely. Like, actually I'd love to do that, but that's not what we're doing because that doesn't work so great. So I'm going to give you a couple of provisos, first of all, so that you don't beat yourself up. So when I was diagnosed, I had beautiful friends. I have beautiful friends and beautiful family, and people were giving me suggestions. So let's call on Donna again. Donna Watt-Hutchings, I love you to pieces. Donna Watt-Hutchings gave me, as soon as I was diagnosed, a book about yoga. And seeing how Jim has already started this morning, I go, fuck that, was my thinking. I don't do yoga. I'm a runner. Like, I am not going to take up yoga. My identity is as a runner. I am not doing yoga. So I didn't say that to Dawn. I graciously accepted the gift and said, thanks, Dawn. I'll look into that, and put it on a shelf. And I had a client who very generously gifted me a book on creative visualization by Shakti Gaiwan, an introduction to creative visualization. And once again, I look at her and I think, ooh, yeah, whatever, thanks. And I graciously take the book and I put it aside. My good friend Louise sent me a journal, a blank journal with coloring pencils and a beautiful pen and this magnificent drawing of a beast that she had done. And it was an invitation to start journaling. And I thought, love your picture, Lou, thanks. But that also got tucked away. So basically, I was not accepting any of these offerings because I was so gung-ho on remaining who I had been. And I didn't journal, and I didn't do yoga, and I didn't, what was the third one? This is the COVID brain. Anyway, I was not accepting any of this stuff initially. So if you initially are resistant to some of the rituals we're gonna suggest, that's normal. Don't worry about it. You'll find what works for you. And also, you might also note that you might not be ready for them right now, but maybe in a couple of months. I certainly did embrace them during treatment. It was I finally started with all of it during treatment, the creative visualization, the yoga, and the journaling. And they are all still huge parts of my life, but the initial piece of me was very resistant. So I just give you that proviso. So Jim asked me to put together a flow chart, which was kind of fun. Sort of a flow chart, because we physios, we love flow charts from our days of physiology. At least I'm one of those geeks that still loves flow charts. So we're going to look at awakening. First of all, I think we've all been awakened, right? Like whatever slumber we were in before 2020 hit. I look back to I went back on Instagram to my New Year's post for 2020, and go check it out. It's really a sweet blessing. And it had no idea what we had around the corner, right? It's this beautiful blessing for all of these wonderful things to happen to us in 2020. So here now we're wide awake, and we're aware that there's, we are more vulnerable than we thought we were. We need each other way more than we thought we were. We are on such different pages. Like, it shocks me sometimes how differently we can view the world. Like, I understand the idea of diversity of perspective, but wow, this past 11 months has really opened my eyes there. So we are awake. And now that we're awake, we want to listen. We want to listen really hard, lean into ourselves. I'm always telling the younger physios, when you got a difficult patient and you just want to inch your way out of that room, you got to do the exact opposite. You got to lean in. So whatever you think you want to walk away from in yourself right now, that's where you need to lean into. And the listening, can be done in different ways. We'll discuss that under the rituals, but we want to be introspective and self-reflective. We're going to learn to look at our core values, which might have changed, or, maybe they don't really change, but maybe we're not really so acutely aware of what they are until we have almost nothing. I look at the number of clothes that I wear right now, and it's so limited that I have given probably 50% of my clothes away. I'm going to give away another probably 25% of my clothes. I have bought one thing in the last 11 months that would be a clothing item. And I'm actually really happy about that. And I'm going to continue to live my life that way. And I didn't realize that was a big value for me until I had the opportunity to experience it, as one example. We're really going to learn to look at our feelings. And then from the listening, what we're going to find is we actually connect with our authentic selves, because so much of what we do is masks, right? These identities that we create for ourselves. So if you look at all of my masks are, I'm a physiotherapist, I'm a mother, I'm a stepmother, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a fitness fiend, I'm a yogi, I'm a Pilates instructor, I'm a high maintenance self-care kind of person. Those are all masks. And this past year took away a lot of our masks because we couldn't chase a lot of the things that we normally use to distract us. So in this authenticity, we are going to have to accept ourselves and have some self-compassion. By the way, if self-compassion is an area that interests you, Kristen Neff is a scientist to follow. Shockingly, self-compassion is, if you have young girls at home, I discovered this when we have 3 girls between the 2 of us, my husband and I learned that self-compassion was way more important than self-esteem. I remember thinking when they were all going through, that getting their breasts and changing phase, where I need to instill self-esteem so that they're not looking to boys for their self-esteem. And when I started researching how to best instill self-esteem, I discovered that self-compassion is actually more powerful than self-esteem. So for all of you out there, I'm going to leave you with a little quote from Brene Brown with regards to acceptance. Owning our story and loving ourselves through the process is the bravest thing that we will ever do. I'm a huge Brene Brown fan. So then once we see our authentic selves, we're going to connect to ourselves better. When we connect to ourselves better, we connect to everyone around us better. And that was the magic that was happening for me in that physio room, even though I was suffering. And even though I didn't think I wanted to be a physio, I was so hugely connected to myself that I was connecting hugely to every single person. My business was entirely word of mouth. And then resilience, when you have your authenticity and you're well connected, you're going to have a lot more resilience. You're going to own emotional agility. You're going to be able to cope behaviorally, cognitively. You're going to have way more self-efficacy. You can see how all of this is relevant to our patients as well, right? And then, you're going to be in a situation where you will feel transformed, and maybe even where you're feeling like you're transcending, whatever that means for you. We're looking at that as mindfulness, where you have an elevated level of mindfulness. You're more aware of your thoughts and your feelings, your presence, the quality of the presence you bring into a room. Where you have a tremendous sense of purpose, even at a time like this, where I'm not in my office. I gave up my clinic. I'm taking care of parents, and I'm Zooming at max 5 patients a week. It's nothing like what I'm used to, but yet I still feel like I have tremendous purpose when you can look at the world in awe and when you feel like you can be flowing. So that's what we're going to be taking you through over the next 6 weeks. And I'm going to let Jim talk to the process. You're going to receive a weekly email. And Jim, do you want to expand on that?
Jim, before you jump in, I just want to highlight something, guys. These 2 titans are amazing, but one of the things I recognize is that tech is not one of these things. I was gonna say, Anna, let's screen share, but if you had such a deep explanation of this 6-week thing, and I love the line that Jim put up was, once we lose ourselves, we find ourselves in the chat. And you can see, if you guys look at the chat, you can see the key highlights: awakening, listening, introspection, feelings, authenticity, self-compassion, acceptance, connect to self, resilience, transform, mindfulness, and tools. So if you guys take a quick look at that chat, you can see exactly what that sort of summary of what Anna was talking about, was Jim was reflecting on. So definitely take a look at that. And then Jim, take it from there.
Yeah, thanks, Kareem. I'll stop tutoring Kareem on his tech stuff here soon too, but I learned how to type maybe in COVID too. We'll leave it at that.
With the
But
typewriter.
yeah, exactly. And I use something called paper still. They're trying to take it from me. And Andrea and Krista on here are making me lose it because I kick and scream. But yeah, and the thing is, you've got to do the work, right? And like Anna said, you can choose to do it now. You can choose to do it when you can, but just to reflect on it. So every week we're going to share something, you guys, that's a reflection. The first week is about awakening, and there's a reflective piece just to read, to reflect on, right? The door only opens from the inside, folks. And that's the thing. We're all trying to open this door from the outside and add stuff. And I'm going to come back to it. The door only opens up from the inside by subtracting stuff, letting go. And that's going to make a lot more sense. And there's an action piece. And in that action piece, we're going to ask you to take that reflection and become a verb on it, right? Again, this liminal space isn't passive, it's active. You're growing your wings, right? A liminal space is being in a friggin' cocoon, and we're all in a cocoon. Some of us are in 2 or 3. And as we kind of break out of this friggin' cocoon, we're going to have some wings to fly with. And that's going to come from some of these action pieces. Then we're going to give everybody 2 options. There's going to be a highest road where we're saying, hey, go look at this. If you want to actually even go beyond, go look at this. This is a learning opportunity. This is a growth opportunity. And then there's a higher road, which may just be a little more meandering, but it's still going to get to the same place just based on where you're at from a time perspective. And that will come out. We're going to have 6 of those over the next 6 weeks that then come and bring this whole piece together. And the piece is just a journey from your head to your heart, opening the door from the inside. And I'll tell you guys, it's one I live every day, and it's the hardest fucking journey you have to make in your life. And it's only 18 inches long. So, you know, it's that's what we're trying to share with you guys. And then you have it the rest of your life. And once you kind of get this resilience, it's funny, you don't lose it.
Awesome, man. That's deep. I love that door swinging inwards, because truly we're always looking for that external, piece, when it's really like your outside world is a reflection of your inside world, right? Or the success of your inside world is definitely
exactly.
Yeah. And
that's the introspection piece. We're always thinking it's adventure before introspection, but it's introspection that takes you to adventure. It's being that takes us to doing, not the other way around. We're human beings.
So how do we get started here? Is this, are we watching this? Is there some sort of like written thing? Are we journaling tonight? Are we meditating about our roots, connecting down to Tanya Yardley in Vancouver Island? Like, what are we doing? What's the next step?
Yeah, I want to visit Tanya's farm sometime, but I'll leave that one just to Anna.
So for tonight, we really just want to get to know what are you guys feeling like you'd like. We have a program put together, but Jim and I are probably the 2 most flexible people ever in terms of we're both incredibly malleable. And so we just really are here to serve you. We are here to offer community because we are, first of all, Kareem, so grateful. I have to tell you, like, I came home, I was in Hawaii when this shit hit the fan with my parents on a lovely little island in Maui watching, I'm Italian, I told you, watching Italy fall apart with my parents, whose entire family, other than one brother, are still in Italy. And we had to fly home in that. I had to, over the phone, decide with Lisa that we should close the clinic. I get home and I'm like, holy crow. And then there's PPD. And it's like, wow, okay, that was a beautiful anchor, so grateful for that community. So we are paying it back. We are just returning the favor. We're here. We can modify the program. If somebody really wants something in particular delivered, we are willing to switch it up a little bit. But for tonight, really, it's just about getting to know what you want. We're inviting you to take a look at how you're feeling. I'm gonna tell you that it's a lot harder than you think. I belong to a forum group through my husband's my husband is a business guy. And so he's in, I don't know if you guys are familiar with YPO, WPO, but it's like an international business group, right? So I'm in a spousal forum and have been for the last, I think 8 to 10 years. I can't remember exactly. And we've been doing this feelings thing for 8 to 10 years. And every single time I'm like the feelings monitor. Good is not a feeling. So you can't say I'm good. We want you to find a feeling. And so you will get in round 1, in the first episode of the email, there is a feelings wheel. It's by no stretch of the imagination a complete embodiment of all of the possible feelings, but it's pretty nice. And it can help you to sort of connect with how you are feeling. And to sort of just understand that it's okay, that, you know, authenticity is much more important than perfection. And so don't be afraid to look under the bed and see what's there. Don't be afraid to listen and see, to hear what you might hear. I promise you, you are stronger than you think. I also promise you that there's a lot more going on there than you think. But I think we've just been all really programmed to just carry on and carry on and make like everything is okay.
Yeah, and we serve 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 again. And that's what we do. Don't ever think this is an easy job. This is friggin' hard. We give and we give and we give, and you look in the friggin' mirror and there's nothing left. And all I can see now is my eyes when I look in the mirror through a friggin' shield. So you can't give away what you don't already have. And COVID took a lot from us, and we really need to fill ourselves up and get that self-compassion and really get to that authenticity, because it's hard to find when you're looking through a mask and a shield, and you can't give it away if you don't own it.
You know, what's really cool about this whole situation, I used to know coronas just on beaches, and coronas are a different thing in 2021 and 2020. But I think Jim and Anna, you clearly illustrated that, you know, prior to Corona, prior to COVID, you know, people would just be bragging rights about how successful they are, what they did, what they accomplished, what they have. And, you know, COVID almost turned this into like a living communism where we're all at the same level. We're all hurting. We all have pain. We've all lost people that we love to COVID, and lost, you know, our sense of purpose, even like by having our careers put on pause, literally. So, you know, I think the connection came from us all realizing that once you get rid of all this stuff, the Lambos, you know, the Italian gelatos, all that stuff that are out there, we truly are one species, one human, you know, we're all human beings, and we're here to collaborate and conquer together. So, you know, you know, I truly feel that, you know, there's a sense of community here. And so maybe I want to open up. Do you guys want to open up to the attendees here? Maybe take some questions. We can put some people on the mic if they wanted to chat. And since we've got about 10 minutes here. So in the chat, guys, you can always put your hands up. If anyone wants to get on the mic right now, please put yourself onto the chat, and we can bring you onto the mic. Just, I think we got. All right. Well, we're waiting for some brave soul like Andrea K to
Come on, Andrea, you got it.
So we got Andrea K who's joining us impromptu. Andrea. Or maybe she's not coming on. All right.
I'm here.
Oh, Andrea, welcome to the show, and as an impromptu panelist.
Well, thank you guys so much, truly, for just for inviting us in, and just starting out, Anna, by connecting us, right? Like, what a powerful way to feel connected to so many people that, you know, that comment, Glenda, things that have killed ego, and, you know, from this past experience of competitiveness, and, you know, who's your who's your rival and how are you going to do better, to, hey, what did they do well and are they going to share? And I try to talk about the blessings of COVID because there's so many losses that we can talk about, and it doesn't get us further until we start to look at what we've learned and what we're gaining from it. And so I just really want to thank you for giving us the opportunity in a forum to come together. And I'm very much looking forward to the homework that we have to do and the introspection, because for me, I often skip that part, right? I want to reach out, I want to help out, but it's much, you said it, Anna, it's extremely difficult. And it is, when you start looking in, it's a lot harder than you might think. So thanks so much, guys. Very excited.
Thanks, Andrea.
Thank you.
All right, I think we got one person who really wanted to jump in on here.
Tanya.
Hi.
Tanya Yardley.
I want to say hi to you. It's so heartwarming to see your faces. Like I didn't even realize how much I was missing that connection with my peers and friends until I, saw your smile. And it just actually is such a heartwarming thing. And like Andrea said, there has been so much loss and so much hardship associated with this pandemic. But one of the things that I've really taken hold of is even just in my own social isolation, when I get out into the woods for a walk, for the first time in years, I'm seeing tons of families out there in the forest and kids playing on the beach and parents and kids, hanging out together and people really enjoying nature. And I really think that in terms of the rituals that have helped me kind of stay grounded, literally getting out into the woods and getting out to the river and getting outside has made such a huge impact. That whole sense of being connected to other people, but even more importantly, feeling connected to the earth. So it really resonated, the meditation that you did at the beginning, Anna, because we all need to be finding ways, whatever way we can, through Zoom, through, little chance discussions over the internet or other things, to just find our roots and stay connected to one another. So I really want to honor you guys for showing up for us. It means so much.
Thanks, Tanya. Really appreciate that. Anna, Jim, we've got a few minutes. What are the next 6 weeks? What can we expect? Moving forward, people are going to come away from this, and what are they expecting this week? Is there something that might be coming to their email? Is there something that they should do tonight to reflect on kind of the stuff that we talked about, and to take this energy and move it forward?
I think, I think tonight, if you just want to, as I had alluded to earlier, just sort of really, not because we want to stay in the negative, but because if we don't truly look at what we feel we have lost, then we can't really go about sort of recovering from that. I don't even know what I want to say, what we do, but we carry on with this bag that gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier until we end up with Hodgkin's. Okay. So please, do take a look at what is really happening for you. You might not want to do that right before bed. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you want to wait till the morning to do that, but then you're going to work. So you're going to figure that out, but just sort of mentally figure out what it is you have lost. Don't worry about figuring out your feelings yet, because your first email will be coming, and that is one of the action pieces of that. In that first email is getting in touch with how we're actually feeling. The first email is probably coming out on Wednesday, but because Jim and I are both, we're from that same era. I'm older than Jim. Like, oh my gosh, like I have to tell you, when I had my Hodgkin's, there weren't these things, right? No cell phones, internet was barely around. So I was sort of in forced solitude, and it actually was okay, because that meant I went to myself a lot faster. See, now we can go to Instagram, we can go to Facebook, we can search the net. Now you could search the net back then, but it wasn't nearly what it is right now. So my point being, start to just acknowledge that you are going to have to look under the bed, look inside a little bit. And so tonight or tomorrow morning might be a nice way to get comfortable with that idea.
That's awesome. Oh, and what I know about Italians is that everything gets better with time, right? My Italian wines, everything that's vintage Italian gets better. So don't sell yourself short, right? Erdem wanted to put a comment on Erdem from Toronto, from York specifically. Erdem, what's on your mind? What did you want to know from Anna and Jim?
Can you hear me? Have you?
We gotcha.
Okay, thank you for letting me speak. Thanks for asking me to speak. Actually, I wanted to kind of say I think this has been really necessary, and I think that a Sunday night is actually the perfect timing for this kind of stuff to kind of get the week started properly. Because often, it's Sunday night blues and things like that, and you get your break from your PPE on Sundays. A lot of people are working Saturdays now, so this is the perfect time. But I kind of just want to say that. Jim and Anna I've never met before. Anna I'm not too familiar with, but I'm definitely impressed with. And Jim, I've never met you, but I've always had this respect for you because I've always heard so many great things about you through the teaching community and things like that. And then along with Kareem, the two of you, Kareem I know very well, but I've seen you as well, Jim, through kind of some of the leadership you've been doing at the personal level. And I think that what COVID has done is we've been a profession for a long time, obviously, and we've had our divisions and our associations, but I think that this has made us become a community now. And I really want to just say to Kareem especially that his leadership as kind of forming a community and being a leader has been just amazing. So just to express my gratitude for that and really looking forward to the next 5 or 6 weeks.
Thanks, Erdem. I really appreciate those kudos from all of us on the panel here. And truly, we actually struggled with which day to put this session on. And it just seemed like the feng shui of 21 to 21 to kick off self-care Sundays. Self-care is self-love, as I always like to say. Jim, what should we take away from this true day of rest? As Erdem was saying, what can we take away from this to prep our weeks for success?
Just be prepared, right? If you want to do the work, you don't have to do it alone. Look around. There's, a whole bunch of people here that maybe don't have the opportunity to have these discussions with their friends, with their family. They don't do what we do. We do what we do. We get it. And to be able to take that step beyond, the first step's the hardest, and we're going to give you guys tools. We're going to meet again in a live in a few weeks, and then we're going to have a live again at the end. So we're still going to come together a few times. Anna and I, we don't have fancy websites yet or anything like that, but reach out to us individually, please. And we're happy in the meantime, if anyone's got any individual questions, that we're here just to walk together. So get ready for a journey, and I'm excited. And I'll give Anna, she's my hero, the last word on that.
I just want to reiterate that we are so available. Like if you just want to reach out, this is going to make me cry again. See, I told you I cry really easily. But if you feel like you want to reach out because you don't want to talk to anybody else, but you maybe want to talk to a physio, and it doesn't have to be by phone. It can be whatever, or email. It can be Instagram, DMing, whatever. If you just want to connect because you want a bit more of a connection, we are up for that as well. So please just know that we're here, seriously here.
So Anna, how do to formalize this? How do people find you during the in-between weeks?
So you can find me on Instagram as Anna DiMarco Physio. So ANNADIMARCO Physio. And my email address is annadimarcophysio@gmail.com.
Awesome. Jim, you already beat me to it, Mr. OG of the IG.
Probably
Millard. That's awesome, man. Look at that. You got that on your handle. That's super smart. Guys, in respecting the time for the power hour of Sunday self-care, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us for the first week of this incredible 6-week series. I'm looking forward to developing deeper bonds with our panelists and our attendees. I truly think that all of us are coming together for a greater purpose, and that each person that's attending, even if you're not on the screen, even if you haven't had a chance to talk, is going to be able to spread the good word. And the door to success truly swings inwards, so we can share this amongst our entire profession. I just want to thank everyone for attending. And thank you, Anna. Thank you for being so vulnerable. Thank you for inspiring all of us and being such a hero for all of us. You've truly gone through such incredible like things, and it's mind altering. So thank you so much for sharing that vulnerability. And guys, 12 hours ago, Jim, maybe he'll share the story another time, was getting this intense migraine where I turned into a green alien and on his computer screen. Well, that's for another time. And he was losing feeling on the side of his face. And that was just 12 hours ago. So, massive kudos to Jim Millard, our mind mentor, that is truly stepped it up and showed us what true heroes are all about. So thank you guys. I really hope that you guys have an incredible week coming up. We're going to win this together. We're going to go stronger. We're going to go deeper. And we're going to champion 2021 as the year we own it and we take control and come together as one community. So thank you guys for attending. Look forward to seeing an email coming out from us sometime this week. And then we're going to see you guys same time, same channel in 2 weeks' time. Peace out, guys. Anna, thank you. Jim,
Thank you.
thank you, guys. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Everyone.
Take care, guys.